Hello, hello, brothers and sisters. This is Dr. J.A. Rogers, Mike Side. We are Black Men Declare. We want you to hit that subscription button, hit that like button, help us out. You'll know when we come on by hitting the notification button. We've got some very powerful young men with us today. I say young, but they're covered by several decades. But we have Dr. Tell, we have Dr. Banneker, we have Dr. Denmark, and myself. We may be joined later by Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, but we're going to get it rolling here. And we invite all of you to join us and listen in. Leave any comments below because we truly will appreciate your perspective as well. Black Men Declare, we're here to change the narrative. We have opinions about many things, and oftentimes we don't think our opinion is being well serviced. There was an article recently that came out that had some very interesting observations and perspectives. It dealt with the National Cathedral unveiling a racial justice themed window replacing Confederate windows. And so there are some who think, feel, and believe that that's a good thing to do, is to begin to replace some of the systemic and racist themes that have been hidden right in front of our eyes. And so tonight, brothers, I guess the first thing that jumps out on my mind is the question: is this turn or this change by the Roman Catholic Church indicative, potentially, of change that we may see occurring in the current white nationalist, systemic, racist Christian community? Be very interested in your comments and your perspectives tonight. Your mics are open.
Greetings, Dr. Rogers, and greetings to our sisters and brothers of Black Men Declare. This is Brother William Tell. I think this shows the the mindset of those who are of the Catholic faith and of those who are predominantly white. I think that they are coming to the realization that they have to acknowledge the the times of slavery, and they can no longer justify lifting up these people who were a part of slavery and who fought for slavery. It is very interesting that these are now this light. I mean, these windows have been was replaced with imagery of slavery and imagery of people of color coming up and materializing and coming to a place of out of slavery. I think it is a great ideal. I think that we are to applaud and hope that more religions, more different types of faith will come and join this Catholic Church. I will tell you, being in the nation's capital, that this is the largest Catholic Church in Washington, D.C. So it means a lot to have these windows be changed.
Greetings, my brothers. Ben Banneker here. I was born a young black man. I was baptized a Catholic. I witnessed Catholicism through my 20s and 30s. And at that time, I saw the light. I saw lies. I saw manipulation. I saw a change in mankind. The Catholic Church, in my opinion, Ben Banneker, a very manipulative, very Gothic kind of religion, and it's all about mind control, brainstorming, and putting self last and putting the Catholic Church first. And I remember as I grew through my 30s and on that I finally got educated about world religion. And one of the facets of world religion for me is that we, the people of God, are the church. I saw so many times in looking at my history of Catholicism, not realizing that some of the Catholicism that they were implying and some of the borders that they imply of slavery, churches were built on minds of past slaves in the basements. The Catholic Church is as demonic as any other church that I know of because it lies so much to you that they want to tell you what to think, tell you what to say, memorizing your doctrines and your principles and petitions. I welcome any opportunity and every opportunity to expose the Catholic Church. The Southern Baptists.
Are you saying, brother, this is a good thing they have done or a bad thing? They made a change that was some perceive as being a positive change. Are you not granting them that that reality?
Not at this time. I think there's a lot more change that needs to happen. But again, as it is
Oh,
written, change comes only by small steps. And this was a small step, is a small step. So I'll say yes. I'm sorry, I inferred that it was not a tremendous change. But I will digress and say it's a start. You have to
well,
start somewhere.
we
Peace, fam.
appreciate that, my brother. Come on, my brother. Come on, Denmark.
Peace, family. It's Denmark. Good to be on this episode, my brothers, in this fight for truth, freedom, justice, and equality. It's amazing that it's with the windows because windows represent the outside, being able to see from the outside, or being able to see from the inside to the out. But we changing windows doesn't affect what's in the heart, what's in that concealed heart. And you could put up all the black faces and portraits of slavery, but if you don't have a change in policies as it relates to blacks across the world, then you just putting up some nice windows, some windows that may be worth millions of dollars. So I don't give too much credence in that until I see some policies from the Catholic Church. Now, there are Catholics. We know one, Father Flager up in Chicago, who does great things and his Catholic church is full of black people. So we see him, but we also see how they came against him for doing things for the black community. The Catholic Church I'm talking about, and some of the priests and bishop, whatever they call the high-ranking officials above the local priests, but they're just symbols. And as a Black American or a Black person in this world, I'm tired of symbolism. I'm tired of everybody giving us symbolisms and thinking that somehow that's supposed to change 400 to 500 years worth of travesty and how it impacted our families. Now, if you want to really make some change, take that money that the Catholic Church raised and put into black businesses. put it into the black community so we could circulate our money more. So that's just me, just my opinion.
Well, brothers, this is a powerful question, first of all. And I think everybody has hit elements of it. At the end of the day, when the window is not clear, it's like the same cube windows you see sometimes in bathrooms. It's a window, but it's not really a window. It's not really a window to the soul. I think that's what Denmark is saying, is that you still have the ability to say you have a window, but can nobody see through it. If you ever looked at those cubes, you can see a light sometimes, but you really can't see through them. And so it's still a facade. It's still this imaginary situation where we are being told, hey, we want to increase, racial justice. We want to do this. Wouldn't it be more powerful, once again, for the Catholic Church, who, let's not get it twisted, one of the richest institutions on the planet? How about going to the communities in the urban areas of America and other urban cities around the world that are predominantly black? Build some recreational centers. I keep coming back to this over and over again. I mean, build some swimming pools. Real things that can have an impact on the lives of people. Not all of this symbolism. I mean, we have enough symbolism as it is. What the world needs now and what black folks need now is tangible evidence and tangible involvement of people that say they want to help and they want to improve racial relationships in America and around the world. Now, Dr. Tell, I don't know if we've hit any of the points that you may have been thinking about. I know you were our lead person when we started thinking about this particular topic. But is there anything in a short, 20 seconds that you want to add to this conversation?
Yeah, I just would like to just add that I hope, again, that as you have mentioned, that this is just the beginning, that this small gesture does not erase all of the injustices that they have done. And just as we have said, and you all have said, just because you change the outward appearance doesn't mean that you have changed the heart. And we know that God looks at man in his heart, and that's the way we are too. So we hope and we pray that people, not just that church, but all churches and all other denominations and faiths will go and really look at their heart and see what they're doing.
All right. That's powerful, brother. Now, I tell you what, it makes me think of something that also is going on in the world today in terms of change. There is change going on in the church, but also out of the church, there are some areas, there are some countries, there are some nations that are also forming a change. It's called the BRICS, for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and others. And there are those that believe they are slowly taking over the world. They're coming together because when you look at that particular group, now you're speaking of a group that's more populous. It has more potential power than what's so-called G7 or G20. It's a group to be dealt with. And so we'd like to know, what do you think is going on there? And I'd like to get Dr. Banneker's input on this first. Dr. Ben, what's going on with that BRIC group? And why should we be concerned, even though some say their development is real slow at the moment? But they're dealing with the money piece as well. because we know and understand that this fiat currency, where the United States has been the big dog in making everybody bow down to that U.S. dollar, that's changing. Come on, give us some input on and perspective on that.
Greetings, brothers. Greetings, family. Greetings, my listening audience. You're absolutely correct. BRICS is the acronym for the other world. A world that's growing up, a world that's decided that I ain't taking no more stuff. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South America. It also is lending new ideas and new members coming as it is growing to Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. BRICS is growing slow, but overnight, it is going to be the one that controls the world currency today. The United States was formulated in this fiat system that they claimed that they wanted to give and take hostage for creating wars and rumors of wars and making everybody pay for a piece of paper that had no value. In 1913, when it was initiated, we were a gold standard country, the United States. But in that time frame, the powers that be, the white establishment, changed and made the fiat dollar paper, and it didn't worth what it's written on. The petrodollar is how it was evolved and how it's known. BRICS is going to be based on gold currency. I'm sorry, not currency, but gold, real gold, bricks of gold. It's going to be backed by a substantial value, whereas the fiat dollar has little or no value at all, except what the assumption is of its creation. But with BRICS comes a new relationship with finance. Now, I've been on this planet a little time, but not in the creation of the formulation of BRICS. I'm sorry, not the formulation of the fiat currency. However, we know the playbook. We know the stories. We've seen how the United States has manipulated every other country around the world and asked them to pay through various means of contraband. Right now, our political system, our actual living conditions are formulated on hypothesis. BRICS has been formed to change all of that. In recent years, from 1950, actually beyond that, from 1930 and beyond, we've formulated and seen how BRICS is going to
Dr.
move.
Banneker, I want you to hold that thought for a minute. Let me get some comments from the other brothers on the panel. Dr. Tell, do you think this BRICS thing is going to change? What kind of change is it going to have on the world if the fiat dollar, U.S. dollar, is no longer not only the global reserve currency, but if these other nations now are handling business transactions in their own currency, not going to the so-called theoretical porter the SWIFT management system that's been in place for now over 100 years. What's your thoughts on that?
Just as you all were talking and as we have studied, I am I would say for real, I am perplexed because when you look at the currency and when you look at these systems that are now coming up against America or United States, I am and I live in the United States. So theoretically, what they're saying is that they're going to come and make my dollar bill worth nothing. Now, I can deal with that in two ways. Either I can go and hide and fight back, or I can diversify. And my comment would be that we need to really consider about diversifying and making sure that we have currency or we have funds and other forms of currency. We have talked about buying gold. We have talked about buying silver. We have talked about buying crypto currency. And all of those other forms really need to be considered when we are looking at now being, for the lack of a better word, being pushed out of the game. Because when you think about it, the only people it's us, and when I say us, it's going to be the United States, Canada, and South America against everybody. And I think we are outnumbered. So I am going to start looking and making sure that I look into other forms of currency, and that would be, I guess, my recommendation and what I think about as far as being having this BRIC system realized.
Denmark, do you think we're really ready for a change? Not only America, but citizens in America, and specifically Black folks in America.
Absolutely not. Black folks in America, we've been tied to the American system for so long, hoping and praying that one day our former enslavers would open their hearts and their minds to us. And to be quite frankly, I blame it on Black leadership that we haven't diversified to the point like my brother William Tell. And just a brief thing, my brother Banneker said South America is actually South Africa. But our leadership that has been leading Black America had plenty of opportunities, especially in the 60s and the 70s, of really becoming a dominant force. If we would have followed the likes of Malcolm and others who created friendships across the world, especially in Africa with Kwame Nkrumah in Liberia. We had opportunities, and we have opportunities now to create friendships outside of this American system, so that when it hits, we can still somehow have places where we can go and be welcome and create business opportunities. But we so tied to this leadership, this current leadership, who still has a great hope of them opening them their arms to us, and to the point whereas now they are seeing that, hey, this BRICS is coming. Black folks are our last hope. Let's think about giving them reparations after 400 years. Let's think about it now. Let's have policies and procedures where we try to give them a few dollars so they won't be so quick to move out against us, because they are our saving grace. With the music, the entertainment, those are Americans' biggest exports. But that's ours, that we can take and control and create capital and resources for us. I look at somewhere like India, who has basically taken over the technology field, and we are building their middle class while our middle class is suffering. But nobody is saying that. All they're saying is go vote for Joe Biden, vote for Kamala Harris, but not looking at our middle class and how it's being decimated.
All right, Dr. Ben, anything you want to to add to the perspective at this time? Give you
Yes,
30 seconds.
absolutely. He who controls the money, controls the gold, controls mankind. Words that we're playing on right now. We do need, as Dr. Tell was talking, and Dr. We need to put our hands to the plow now, make our own work of life. BRICS is here. It's not coming, it is here. The sign of the times has changed. The value of currency is now gold. I share that in love. Peace.
All right. Well, you know, one other perspective I would say on the BRIC situation is this. You've got a white man involved in the mix that is very much fed up with how his country, the Soviet Union, was broken up. And here he is hanging out with black folks and yellow folks. And that's a very powerful thing. When you look and see at those guys standing up there together, and if you see that reality, and you see all of the power that's being made available, and now with Saudi Arabia and some of these other countries that Dr. Ben mentioned, brothers, I'm telling you, that is a powerful coalition. And what's going to happen, and what is happening already, the European or the Eurocentric mindset about dominating the world is being threatened very, very dearly. And it would not surprise me at all that just like here in America, when an attempt is always made to get us to hate somebody, the same thing is going on right now in nations around the world, Eurocentric nations. Find ways to hate black people, or more succinctly, any people of color. And so it cannot be stopped. It's already been released. These countries now have already gained confidence. They already see how powerful they can be when they come together in agreement. You have even some of these nations that in the past, a European country or a Eurocentric country or a white country for that matter, could really say things to them and cause them to bow down. Those days are over. I believe that sincerely. But let's move on to something else, brothers, and let's do a test. I'm going to ask you all to test your mics and see when you're not speaking, if you're on mute or not. Getting a little reverberation while we're here. Because we're going to also spend some time when you talk about the BRICS. Those are nations, families of nations coming together. And all of it is about who controls the narrative. Is it going to be a Eurocentric narrative, or is it going to be a narrative that's more diverse, or one that encapsulates more people, more different perspectives and mindsets? And so one of the things, of course, that's always vitally important is the family. And I know Denmark, I like to see what you've been looking at and hear about what you've been attempting to get a better handle on as it relates to this attempt to control the narrative around black families, and how the imagery that's happening in social media is at conflict with that need for black families to understand what time it is and get control once again of the narrative. So, Denmark, what kind of thoughts or comments you have on that?
Peace, my brother. Thanks, man. Just scrolling through social media these past few weeks and really paying attention. Like, you're seeing women, especially rappers, and we know good, bad, or indifferent. A lot of the rappers or entertainers, they're always going to be promoted as the as the face of the black man and woman in America. And right now, what we're seeing is the glorifying of women who are half naked, cursing, talking about they're going to have extreme sex or have, just talking about sex in general with men, no matter how many, what they're going to do to the men, what they're going to, you're just seeing this image. And then when it comes to the black man, you're seeing the feminine man now. You're starting to see them promoting more feminine men dressing like either women or dressing with the tight clothes. But there's so many negative images out there as it relates to black people. And especially with our last subject where we talked about with BRICS and, us being able to go across the globe and do business. But when you have this image perpetuated across these media platforms of black women with no men in their lives, all we talking about on social media is going after the bag. Nobody's talking about family anymore. All of the top entertainers, you hear them talk about the bag, and you look behind them, they don't have any woman on their side. I did a little deep drill. Marriage in the 1900s was around 60% with black folks. With around 60%. Today is less than 30%. Marriage, black people. Say in the 1920s, 14% of black families were led by single women. Today it's over 50%. This is the image that is being displayed across the world at a time where the world is changing. And nobody's talking about it. Again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but all you hear is vote for Joe, vote for Joe, vote for Joe. I don't like Donald Trump. Let's get him off the platform. But nobody's talking about what it's going to take to fix us. Now, you do have a few, I'm going to say, extreme black Republicans who are talking about these issues, but they're talking about them in a way that's only to benefit what the Republicans are talking about. I don't think we're talking about the Candace Owens, the Larry Elders, those types. I don't think they really have a desire to see a change. That's just a talking point for them right now that they've been given. But my point is we have to control that thing. When we talk, it's okay to go get the bag. It's okay to secure financial freedom for your family. But if you don't even have a wife on your side that's supposed to be the one who helps you or having a helpmate, what are you securing it for? Because you're going to produce children who have the same mindset that you had. Don't have no family. There is no family structure. So I'm just saying we have to be careful of this image that are out right now, and we have to be diligent in promoting a different image. You're on mute, Rogers.
Dr. Ben, what's your take on this? You in agreement with Denmark? You think he's out in left field, or you in agreement on
no,
his
he's not
position?
in left field. He's not in left field. I'm in agreement with it. I am in total agreement with it. We need to strengthen our family unit as Black Americans, as Black people. I don't care what country you're in now. We need to come to the Father and stand for what is real, what is worth, and support our family and support each other. I say that in peace.
All right, beautiful. Dr. Tell, what's your take?
Yeah, I think that the only way that we are going to bring back the family structure is to, one, each person has to take accountability in teaching their own families. I think for such a long time, we have allowed the government, we have allowed the school system to teach our children, and they have succumbed to what they were taught instead of we knowing the truth, we teaching the truth, and we teaching it to our young. When we get to that place, I think that we'll be able to turn around the way that we are going as far as being disrespectful to each other, then being disrespectful to ourselves, and then not upholding the family structure. Not even in the church can the family structure hold up anymore when you have a great percentage, 60 or more percent in church marriages are ending in divorce. So you can't just say it's happening in the world, but it's happening in the church and in the world. So my ideal, my solution is, let's take accountability. Let us teach our own children. Let us come together and teach our children. Then we'll be able to then possibly see a change in direction.
I would agree with you 100%. I'm in full agreement. I'm in so much agreement that I want to quote some people. This was a book. Some of you have heard this book before. The Endangered Black Family, Coping with the Utilized Sexualization and Common Extinction of the Black Race, written by Dr. Nathan Hare, PhD, and Julia Hare, MMED, in 1984. And what Denmark brought up, and then Dr. Ben, and of course Dr. Tail, I just want to read some of the headings that's in the book, some of the chapter headings. Feminist hype, the emergence of white bourgeoisie, women as sexual pioneer and liberator. Blueprint, Part 2, Blueprint and Program for Genocide. The utilized sexualization, the federal government's program of black genocide. The rise of homosexuality and diverse alternatives to matrimony. What makes a man a pimp? The pimp whore complex. Learning to love, learning to hate. The successful black woman's man's problem. Blues for Snow White. The white woman, black man attraction. Why black women are turning to suicide. The reconstruction. Who killed black sexuality? What is black feminism? What is black masculinity? Coping with alienation in the coming bad years. And then the second stage on the path to destruction. Now that's some very powerful stuff. Again, that was written in 1984. So you're talking there, what, almost 40 years ago. And Denmark hit us with a stat. You go from 60+% families intact to now less than 30, about 27% is the number. We're going to have a very difficult time in controlling the narrative when we look at those kind of statistics. Very, very much so. But if we don't do something now, I don't know what could be done, to be quite honest. We've got to get back. And that 27, 28% of intact or surrogate or hybrid or whatever you want to call it, families where you do have a positive male and woman in there, it's got to be leveraged, I believe, to the next level. It's got to be. If it's not leveraged to the next level, then I believe what the Hares speak of in terms of the extension of the black race, not extension, EXTENISON, no, extinction, EXTINCTION. We all wiped out. But I want to ask you, Denmark, we kind of broad, somewhat moving down a pathway, but this is such a powerful subject matter. It's sometimes difficult to get your arms wrapped around it. But is there any single thing, given the shortcomings we know that are present in this current dispensation, if somebody wanted to take away something after listening to this, what would you want them to take away? Denmark.
That we have gained since coming out of being enslaved to now, we have gained in individual areas as far as education, as far as climbing corporate ladders. We have gained in a lot of individual statistics, but the number one statistics that we that always held us down and will help us get over bridges and hurdles was the family. And we have lost that. And if we don't repair it, doom is on the rise for Black people across America, no matter how much money we have made and no matter how much education, because they have separated us from the one thing that gives us our energy and our power, kind of like Popeye and spinach. That's what the Black family represents. Peace.
A great analogy, Popeye spinach. And I want to leverage a little bit about what you're saying there. There's an example that I want to use. That example was a recent picture after a tournament win by Tiger Woods' young son, Sam, 14 years old, I believe, won one of these junior tournaments that Tiger Woods used to dominate. Tiger Woods, the golfer. Tiger Woods, who called himself Kablasian, part Caucasian, part Black, part Asian. And in this one photo, he's embracing the son and telling the son, well done. And the article, of course, goes on to speak about, how it's been a struggle, but at the same time, the level of satisfaction Tiger seems to be getting out of seeing his son do what he claims that he didn't do at 14. Now, we don't know if that's true or not true because Tiger was a child prodigy, at 3, 4 years old on the Ed Sullivan show, hitting golf balls and all the nine. But I think it dovetails to what Denmark was saying about family. Now, we know Tiger went through some issues, some challenges, and got accused of doing a bunch of things with sex with a whole bunch of women, lost his focus right after his father died and all of that. And after he lost his focus, after his father died, he seemed to go in the tank, seemed to lose focus, lose direction, and we saw why now. He was hanging out and laying with all of these women. But now he seems to be putting his life back together by focusing on what? Family. His daddy had a situation where he was married once, got married again, and Tiger was the result of that. And because of his love of golf, Tiger's father, Tiger got into it tagging along, and now he's got a son that I'm sure he must be awful proud of, but I'm sure also trying to do some of those same things that his father did to him. And we all know Tiger's father was very tough on him. And we didn't see so many images early on when Tiger was playing where his father would really give him the benefit of the doubt. But I like to get from you brothers a real simple perspective, I hope, but it's a deep perspective as well. Is this not a beautiful expression of love and admiration when we can see a father and a son embrace and to not be a subject or an object of anything about any kind of homosexuality or nothing. It's just a love that someone has for their son, and that's all it is. I'd like to hear your comments, your mic. We want to start with you, Dr. Ted.
Yeah, I would definitely say yes. I am always thankful and always proud when there is imagery that is put out into the masses of a black man standing up and doing what they are supposed to do. We need that more. We understand that for the last maybe 60 to 80 years that the message went out that black men, black fathers specifically, do not take care of their responsibilities. And now here we have a relatively young black man doing and taking care of his son Sam. When I think about him, I think about the Venus and Serena and their father Richard. And I think about how people thought that he was hard but he brought about a discipline for them, and they have now carried that discipline into their mature adult life and shared it with their own children. So I am very happy, very thankful to see this type of imagery being portrayed out into the world today to change the narrative that we who are black fathers do love and take care of our children and our responsibilities.
Powerful. You want to expand upon that, Dr. Ben?
I agree with Dr. Tell in that it starts. The family begins, the head of the household, the man in the household. It has a beginning, and everything that is identified or that has culture has a starting point. You say we start with the seed of a man, but the man has to present himself to be the anchor of the family. I concur, I believe wholeheartedly that we are onto something, but it starts with family, and it starts with mankind, particularly black men, are sharing love.
Denmark, how would you kind of integrate this piece? I know some people got some challenges with Tiger and his blackness, but he's a brother. He's a black man. He has issues like all of us. But how do you see how that fits in the narrative about the black family?
Yes, barring that one issue that I had with Tiger about him and his so-called claiming blackness or whatnot, this image is the type of image that actually needs to be displayed. And it's people like him embracing his son. It's people like I saw the tennis match with Coco Gauff and her dad in the stands and him crying or welling up, because his daughter just achieved something so great. Then I remember the Balls, the Ball family, and LeVar Ball and his sons, and him how he handled his sons, and they had the little show, and he telling his sons that he loved him on national TV, and he also had his wife there with him, displaying that family atmosphere. You look at Richard Williams and Serena and Venus and how he protected them when people didn't want him to protect them, but he protected them and, allowed them to achieve something great, man. I look at Steph Curry, and when he doing interviews and his children are there and he has a wife and his wife is doing great thing. I look at LeBron, how he's telling his sons he love them, hugging them on camera, and him with his black wife in the kitchen, them having fun together. And those are the images that I would love to see. I don't care if you have if they have a black or white wife. The point is they got a family structure that they're building something. So for me, that's what matters to me. That's the image that I was talking about earlier, that we need to see black men with their wives, with their children. And if they don't have a wife, still just them showing the level that we do love we do love our children. We're not leaving them like we may have done in the past for situations that were caused by things outside of our control. We're not doing that anymore. We have achieved something. I mean, we know better now, and we're going to do better. So that's my perspective.
Beautiful. Well said, brothers. Powerful. That imagery is so powerful. The imagery that we see on the negative side, the sexual objectification of our women, that's got to cease. And we have to have an increase to counterbalance, this derogatory thing about our black men. The last thing I'm going to say in regards, I know a lot of people, and I say this often, I know you love you some Tyler Perry, but you really got to check the strategy and the predictive programming that surrounds that character, Madeir. You really got to get an understanding of all of the imagery that goes into that, to where you trying to sit up and you trying to see how does that fit into, your grandmother. Well, first of all, your grandmother was your grandmother. She was a woman. She wasn't no man. She, and that feeds into this thing that we've heard so much about black men being forced to wear dresses. That'll be a subject we'll deal with another time. But these imageries and these opportunities, if you have an opportunity, give your son a hug. Give your daughter a hug. I mean, we've been doing some teaching on the relationship between the black father and the black daughter. And we're going to come back and we're going to deal with that as well. If you're our listening audience and you want to catch us the next time we come on, smash that notification button so you'll know when that is. Because we are black men declare we do want to change this narrative about so many subject matters, because we believe we have a unique perspective that's not being told in a positive manner by mainstream corporate America, mainstream mass media, and that must change. That must change. Brothers, I'm going to give all of you 15 seconds. Any parting comments on whatever your heart feels today? 15 seconds. Dr. Tail, 15 seconds.
Whatever you do it with the spirit of love. Love covers over a multitude of sin, hatred, and anger, and evil. Love one another.
All right, Dr. Banneker.
Start something. Start the process of recovering who you are and whose you are. It's time to be held accountable and not run from your responsibility. I share in love.
Dr. Denmark.
Protect your family, protect your mind, protect your assets, and don't let these people out here that's controlling the media tell you anything different. Family first.
You heard it here first. Black men declare. We are here to change the narrative. Go out, have some conversations with other folks, your friends, your families, neighbors, co-workers, whoever. But by all means, expand that cognitive understanding. We're going to be, again, hit that notification button, smash it, as we said before. But by all means, share this with someone else. And when you go out and share, do it as all the brothers have shared in summation here tonight. In peace and love. J.A. Rogers, Mike Side. Till next time.